Yes, no, yes, no. Hey guys. Wow. Hey guys, what is this? Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you all the books that I read in the month of August. But before we get to that, yes, I have changed my hair. I've been wanting to do this color for like 6 months already, and here it is. Here is my new color. I'm so happy with it. I actually wanted it a little bit more on the peachier, like lighter side, but you know, being that hair does fade with all these fantasy colors, we went a little bit darker just so that it can fade into the peach. But you know what? Pumpkin spice latte all the way. Here we are looking like a jack-o'-lantern, and I am loving it, ready for fall with my orange hair. And so yeah, let's get right into the books that I read for the month of August. So for the month of August, I read a total of 10 books, but don't be alarmed because that is the most that I have read in an entire month. They were all like tiny short books like this. And there was your sneak peek of the first one. Yeah, they were all really short books, and 80% or 90%, 80% of my books were middle grade, and there was only 2 adult books, but those 2 books that I read, I'm sorry, 3 adult books. But those books, those 3 adult books that I read were to die for. I had nothing but 5 stars and 4 stars for the month of August. So in my opinion, that is a fantastic reading month. So the book that I started the month with is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I have been trying to read the Chronicles of Narnia. This is the 2nd book. Technically, it was the 1st book, but I think I've explained to you guys before that the way that he wrote them isn't necessarily the way that you can read them, and he himself has advised to read them not in publication order, and so that's what I'm doing. I read The Magician's Nephew first, which is actually the 6th book in the series, but it actually takes place first, and it's what opens up how they found Narnia and how Narnia was made. And then The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is considered to most as the 1st book, as I said, is book 2. In this particular edition, they do mark it as book 2. So I guess some series have them in actual publication order, and then other series have them in chronological order. Is that the correct term? I don't know, but needless to say, I gave this 5 stars. You know, you cannot go wrong with the world of Narnia. I love it. I love the characters. I love reading just about the world itself. It's just so magical and just beautiful. So yeah, 5 stars, and there's really not much to say about the Chronicles of Narnia. I decided to pick up my first Megan Miranda book, and I did this for the... And I think I read this one for the Booktubeathon, and this was my coin challenge. And that is All the Missing Girls, like I said, by Megan Miranda. And I gave this 4 stars. This follows Nicolette is her actual name. And she is having to come back to the place where she grew up, her hometown, to just sort out some affairs for her father along with her brother. She ends up staying at the house that she grew up in, and a girl goes missing, just as a girl had gone missing when she was living in her hometown as a young girl. So she's back, and another girl's missing, and they're just following the tracks and seeing if they can find her, what happened to her. There's twists, there's, you know, dark secrets, and it was just a fantastic book. I really did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to more of her books. I do have one other one of her books that I'm looking forward to. Great thriller. The letters match my hair. Hi. Then the next set of books I read, it's because I'm joining in on the read along that Allie over at Hardback Hoarder, I think that's her name, Hardback Hoarder. She is hosting this read along of all the, She is hosting a read-along of the Cirque du Freak books. I cannot tell you how much I am enjoying these babies. They are just phenomenal. We follow Darren Shan, which is the actual author, and some experiences that he went through when he was a young kid, and just this Cirque du Freak. And we follow Mr. Crepsley, which we see right here in the first book in the cover, with orange hair. Was that my inspiration? Not really. But yeah, we follow Darren, Mr. Crepsley, and just the whole world of vampires and Cirque du Freaks. I love it. I am enjoying it so much. These are books 1 through 5. And I can't speak enough about it. I don't want to say too much because first off, these books are super tiny. So I can tell you more or less about this book, but I can't go into much detail because it is too short. But I can't really tell you anything about books 2 through 5 because it would just spoil this book and it would just spoil so many other things. But just know that it is amazing. If you guys have not read this, middle grade, but it is just diving into this world is just amazing. So now to go through all the ratings that I gave the books. So I gave books 1, 2, 3, and 5 stars. So that is Cirque du Freak, the first book, 5 stars. The Vampire's Assistant, book 2, 5 stars. Tunnels of Blood, which is book 3, 5 stars. And Trials of Death, which is book 5, 5 stars. Then we go into book 4, which is Vampire Mountain, and I gave this one 4 stars. Not because it is any worse than this, because it's not. It is just as fantastic, but this is the kind of book that sort of like really lets you dive into the world. So there wasn't much action going on. There wasn't much of anything. It was just really getting to know Vampire Mountain, their ways. So that's the only reason why I gave it 4 stars, which really isn't a good enough reason for me. It was probably 5 stars as well, but it's a little bit more slower paced. So that's what I based my my star rating on for that book. But again, I cannot say how fantastic these books are. They are amazing, and thank God they're 12 because then I can continue my adventure. Then I read Willow of the Wood by Robert Beatty. He is the same author as Serafina and the Black Cloak, or I don't remember the name, but I think it's Serafina and the Black Cloak or something like that. I gave this book 4 stars. It was such a cute ride. I initially was going to give it 3 stars because this is a little bit of a slower paced book. So we follow Willa, which is a fae, and we are following just her story within her community, within her fae community. They are having some issues in the community. Somehow she gets kicked out of her community, and we just follow her adventures from there. This was such a cute book, and like I said, it's a very slow paced book. There are a couple of areas where there are a little bit of like fights, like fae fights, and a little bit of action, but not too much. And the cover, like the naked cover, is just amazing. Like, look at this. It's so beautiful. As fae, they are taught to think that humans are evil and just not really like humans because of what we're doing to their house, which is their forest. And when she gets kicked out, Willow really sees that things aren't what they make it out to be. So we just follow her story, like I said a million times, and just her journey into trying to save or rebuild the world that she is from. It is pretty good. I really did enjoy that book. Like I said, I was gonna give it 3 stars when I first finished it because of just how slow paced it was. There was many times where I just wanted to put the book down because it was just really slow paced, but the actual storyline really kept me interested, and I wanted to see, you know, the relationships that she built throughout the book. I wanted to see if they had continued, or, you know, what would happen with those relationships. Highly recommend for middle grade books or even younger I would say. It is a pretty thick book, but if you have kids that are youngins, I would definitely like recommend you read this to them, because like I said, it is a really hefty book, and if they are a little bit younger than middle grade, I would highly recommend you read it to your babies. I have to keep checking my lipstick because apparently last time I made a whole entire video with lipstick on my teeth, and that's just ridiculous. As I was editing that video, I was like cringing the whole entire time, but what can you do? I wasn't gonna refilm it because that's too much work. And yeah, the last book, no, I'm just kidding. The next book that I read in the month, what was that? The next book that I read for the month of August was Kill River 2. As you guys know, I am obsessed with the first book. It is just, oh, it was so good. So of course I had to pick up the second book, and this one did not disappoint. You know how sometimes you go into like a second book, other than Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is just perfection, but you go into a second book of a book that you just loved so much, and you go in with lower expectations because you almost know that it's not going to be as good as the first one. You know, like a second movie, again, you know, you go into it like almost like, okay, like what else could he do? But he killed it. 5 stars. Here we follow, you know, I can't tell you anything about this because I don't know if I told you guys, but when I was reading the first book, for some reason, I was going to order the second book, but for some reason I made the mistake of looking in the reviews, and they actually spoiled the first book. So if I tell you anything about this, it's just going to spoil the first book, and I really don't want to do that. But just know that this book was just as good, just as exhilarating, just as creepy, just as terrifying. I felt my heart in my throat sometimes, and I would like, it was just an amazing ride. It was just, it's creepy, it's fantastic. It takes place in another water park because I love water parks, and I don't know if that was part of the element that I just fell in love with, but I am like a big water park fan, and so this takes place in another water park, just like in the first one. More death, more gore, more blood, more disgustingness, but highly recommend it. And from what I read on the website, he is working, actually in the back of this one, he is working on book 3, and I cannot wait. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this when I read the first book, but there is a page in the back, like the actual last page, and it has a soundtrack, like an 80s soundtrack. Oh my gosh, that is just amazing. And like he'll mention like 80s music throughout the book, and it's just great that you have a reference to it in the back, and you can actually put on the music while you are reading the book. I think that's just, it's amazing. So yeah, Kill River 2, 5 stars. I highly recommend it. If you, like I've said before, if you like 80s slasher horror, that is the book for you. And even if you don't, I would give it a shot. It is a little bit bloody and gory and intense, like if you were watching an 80s slasher movie, but I think it's better because sometimes in 80s slasher films, they're almost like, you watch them today and they're almost, sorry the sun is going in and out, but they're almost like cheesy in a way. And this really, because you are reading it and you can create your own images, I think you can make it less cheesy than with a movie. And then the last book that I read, I'm going to put a picture of it here, is Rolling in the Deep by Myra Grant. Guys, what have I been doing this whole entire time not reading Myra Grant? Like, oh my gosh, I have become obsessed with Myra Grant, the author. She is actually Shannon McGuire, the writer of the Wayward Children series. Oh my gosh. But she uses the pseudonym of, another name of Myra Grant, and she writes horror books under that name. And Rolling in the Deep is about mermaids, sirens, mermaids, killer mermaids, and I have been craving a book like this forever. It is so good. I don't think that the horror element of it is as horrific as I like my books to be. I think that this might be a young adult series. I am not sure. It could be adult, but the horror level really wasn't as intense and as scary as I would, let's say, for example, Kill River 2, that really had my heart racing and things like that. It wasn't that kind of horror book. But it was so good. It is a little bit gory. It has to do with killer mermaids. They actually, there's this network, and it's called Imagine Network, and they just gather these scientists and this like reporter and this camera crew, and they go off into the Mariana Trench because they're looking for mermaids. They're looking to see, and they want to find out if mermaids are real. And so guess what? They are real, and they are not happy. And so things go from there. Like I said, there's blood, there's guts, there's death, and it is just so good. This is like a novella. It is very, very short. I read it in one sitting, and this book is actually out of print already, which I hate. But I did buy it as an ebook because I was so eager to read it, and I read that puppy in one sitting. And for me to read an ebook in one sitting, it has to be like, it had to like enthrall me, and it did. Such a good book. If I ever come across an actual printed copy of it, oh my gosh, I would die. I would die because I need to have that book in my collection. As you can tell, the cover is just stunning. It is beautiful. I gave this book 5 stars because it is just that amazing. So yeah, those are all the books that I read for the month of August. Like I said, there was a bunch of books, but they were all really small books, which is fine. Let me know if you guys want any specific reviews on any one of these books. I know I never asked you guys that because I've never really done a review on my channel before. All I've really done on a specific book was a Fright Friday, which is almost like a review of a book. I am planning to do a Fright Friday with the Kill River books. I think I'm just gonna do one for both books, or maybe just one for the first book, just so I don't spoil anything for the second book. I do have that one coming, but if there's anything in specific that you've seen in this wrap up that you want a review of, or even in past videos or past wrap ups, let me know and I will gladly do that for you. I don't know that I am the best reviewer because I am a woman of very small words, but I can try my best and see if you guys like it. I know that I have a July book haul coming up now because you guys said that you did want to see that, so I will be uploading that after this. But other than that, guys, that's it for this video. So let me know in the comment section down below what books you read for the month of August and what you guys recommend I pick up and give a try. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.